It was just one single incident that occurred on February 25, 2014, where 59 boys were killed at the Federal Government College, Buniyadi in Yobe State, Nigeria, that was to change the peaceful atmosphere of education in the country. 24 buildings of the school were burnt down as a result of the attack carried out by Boko Haram terrorist group. Little did anyone know that next one to come will leave a negative trend that was to affect the entire course of education in the whole of the country. The name Chibok will for generations remain a point of reference in the annals of Nigeria's history. A town that came to the limelight not for the right reasons. 14th of April 2014 is a date that will not be forgotten. Yes, the Boko Haram terrorist group on that day invaded government girls' secondary school Chibok in Borno State. 276 female students within the ages of 16 to 18 were kidnapped. Some escaped, others were forcefully married to the terrorists, while some lost their lives. That brought to an end the dreams, aspirations, and goals of young Nigerian schoolgirls who are being prepared for future leadership. That incident also ushered in the beginning of nightmares and instability for boardings and subsequently day schools in Nigeria. Shortly after Chibok, its neighboring state Yobe experienced the bitter pill as another boarding school, this time around all boys, came under attack. Reports have it that some 80 male students were killed and the school set ablaze, hence disrupting another academic pursuit and ending the dreams of another set of Nigeria's future leaders. From one school to another in the northeast, the attacks migrated to the northwest until it came to the very doorstep of the President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, who coincidentally has in his hometown not too far from the affected area. That was when the name Kankara came to limelight in December 2020 with the kidnapping of over 300 young boys in a boarding school. Not long after, Kaduna State, very close to the FCT, received its share with pockets of kidnapping of single students and finally larger number of 121 boarding school students of Bethel Baptist International Secondary School, Chikun local government area of the state. Just like cancer not properly managed, it kept spreading and eating up its patients. Yes, it further came down to one of the closest states to the FCT. Niger State with Kagara again on the headlines, where much younger children who were in fact primary school pupils of an Islamic school were abducted. That was after attempts on the secondary school. Finally, the cancer of insecurity in schools spread right to the very core of the patient, consuming its being when Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital territory, which should be the ideal safe and secure environment for learning and teaching, received its own share of terrorist attacks.
We have had a case of the law school, the last call to back not hold in the Nigerian law school because of the fear of insecurity. The same thing in the university, Catholic university that was is in the same neighborhood, had to already close a shop just because of the fear of attack. And it was, if not for the intervention of the military that actually went into to comb the bush around there, would have had cases of students from that particular university being kidnapped. And if not for the presence of the military and even the decision to take away that call to bar from Nigerian law school, most likely the law school itself would have been attacked by now, and I will be talking about law students being taken, being kidnapped.
Everybody in Nigeria should look at it that this thing that is happening there, it is not only born, but even this thing gradually it will come to your place, and that is what happened to Federal Capital Territory. You know, most politicians immediately they win primary election, they are in Abuja. They don't go back to their village again. Even some governors left their state, they are in Abuja. They believe Abuja is secured. But the recent level of insecurity in Abuja now have shown to us that that Borno, Abuja, everything is the same. So the issue is this. We should not be able, I will not be part of people who preach that we should concentrate in Abuja. No, it is still the problem. What is the problem of this insecurity? Here, please, when we are talking about insecurity, people should not talk about religion again. People should not talk about tribe again. we should look at it as insecurity.
From Kwali to Abaji, Kuje to Buari, right through the heart of the city, mostly underreported. November 3, 2021, it went beyond students to a vice principal of junior secondary school, Kwali. Later, 3 siblings of Star Academy, Kabusa, and so on until most schools in the FCT lost confidence in the security architecture. Education was brought to its knees in Abuja, July 2022, when all schools were compelled to shut down following threats by terrorists to attack another boarding school in Kuje.
The Constitution is very clear that the primary purpose of government is the security and welfare of the people. Government is the one that has that duty. You can't blame schools. Schools are not, school administrators are not military men, they are not security men, they don't carry guns. The best they can do is to liaise with the security agencies and government to ensure that their security of life and properties, in schools. And the primary duty of those who hold that primary duty is the government at all levels. But most importantly, the federal government, because even for just the mere fact that it is an embarrassment to the government that kids do not go to school, that schools have to be already closed, would have expected the government to have stepped up its game around most of the schools, all over the country. And if the government thinks that there are gaps, that's limitations, it is for the government to come up with initiatives that can help bridge those gaps and strengthen the security of lives and property of the citizens, and most importantly, our children who we send to schools.
How did education in Nigeria get here?
I guess what happened is the schools were seen as soft targets, that there are places you can just overrun, kidnap students, and then get away quickly as possible. I think that was a major factor. The fact that schools are soft targets. But after our experience with the Chibok girls and others, we would have thought that the school, a safe school initiative would have been able to help, put a stop to those attacks. But it appears the safe school initiative did not live up to its billing. Because other than the attacks on schools are beaten, what we had is that it keeps increasing by the day. So the fact that schools are soft target was a major reason why, the terrorists and the bandits, focus on taking pupils hostages. The government has a primary duty, and our constitution is very clear that the primary purpose of government is the security and welfare of the people. Government is the one that has that duty. You can't blame schools. Schools are not, school administrators are not military men, they are not security men, they don't carry guns. The best they can do is to liaise with the security agencies and government to ensure that their security of life and properties, in schools. And the primary duty of those who hold that primary duty is the government at all levels. But most importantly, the federal government, because even for the mere fact that it is an embarrassment to the government that kids do not go to school, that schools have to be already closed, would have expected the government to have stepped up its game around most of the schools, all over the country.
Kidnapping has become a business now. It is an income-generating venture for some criminals in Nigeria. And they have their target. When we hit school, when we kidnap pupils, it will become a national issue. And so they prefer, if kidnappers, if they hit commercial vehicles, you will agree with me that the noise will not be as much as when they hit educational institution. So they are sophisticated, and they know the psychology to apply. That when we attack school, there will be national outcry, and the effect will be more on government and parents. And so, if children are moving along the road and they are kidnapped, you will see that the way people will react is different from the way they will react if they are kidnapped in school. And so they are using that psychology to perpetuate their crime so that it will fetch them more money. And since they know they are making more money out of it, it now becomes something that they want to perpetuate. Because something they want to perpetuate. And very soon, it will be spreading. It will be spreading, if not nipped in the bud.
When one sector of economy, any sector one sector in a state is having problem, it affects the others. You know, these things started as if people were just playing. That is, before, it's just like this. When they started attacking churches, they say it's only for Christians. When they started attacking mosque again, we said that it's only religious sector. I mean, religious organization alone. So, but somebody who is sensitive, government that is sensitive, who knows that it will still leave the religious aspect and come to the school. After this school session, the education attack on the educational system now, or attack on the school system, who knows where it's going to? Thank God, it will be whether the state house again, whether it's government house again. So it is a trend. Insecurity is insecurity. So either it's affecting this one today, tomorrow it will affect another place, and that is just what just happened in the school system. They just felt that, the belief is this: when you kidnap in school, because it's their children, people will be rolling around to pay. Then the thing will create more panic in the system.
What are the consequences?
Without being told, we have the consequences are manifesting. They're manifesting. Disjointed academic calendar. Students and teachers are afraid to go to school. We have seen parents now say their children will still wait at home for some time now. And those that are going out of fear. And therefore, our education is stressed already, but it is gradually relapsing into crisis. People cannot go to school. People cannot send their children to school again. Those that can afford it will take their children from crisis area to perceived peaceful area. And the so-called peaceful area, there is limited facility. And so when there is population explosion now, the facilities are overstressed. Teacher-student ratio will increase. It will increase on the part of a student to teacher. And so it will continue to exacerbate an already threatened system of education.
The closure of school by government is a very good thing. I'm not against it, because it is responsibility of government to protect the citizen. And any measure, any system, any process you think you can use to protect, you protect. I'm happy they closed the school, which is not normal in relative time. But for purpose of Nigeria and purpose of our situation now, it's the best to me. And how I wish this closure of a school can be just for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. After 1 month, in the next 20, 50 years, we will not hear anything about that again. Perfect. Where we have problem with government, with the system is, we close school today. Whether by September you say they should go and resume. December again, we say we should close school again. No, haba. Because, number one, formal education has its own special feature, which is there is academic calendar. That's what we call academic calendar. The time you start, the time you finish, every process. So by the time you say, close school, do this, do that, it will affect the process of learning, teaching and learning. And you know, the implication of this thing, the students will not be able to achieve what they're supposed to achieve in school. And at the end of the day, we now discover that I'm supposed to give you 20, I give you 2. I said, go and write exam. Don't worry, we'll support you because there is insecurity. Pass. So what is the product are we pushing into the system? That is number one. Then secondly, by the time you say we'll be closing school, you don't engage our students, our children. Because of this present information technology, the trend of globalization, they will have access to many things, information that can be used negative, in a negative way rather. And this will affect the system. Because some children, their parents will manage to go to school. Who knows whether it's pornography they are watching? Who knows whether it's channels that is even teaching them how to manipulate computer, which they call Yahoo. Who knows the type of character, the type of habits that these students will gather because they are not doing anything, because they are not engaged. So and that is why I'm saying that government should please take this issue of insecurity. If we don't have the resources, the strategy, let us cry out to the international community to assist us.
The level of insecurity has affected education negatively. Education itself is not an island on its own. It exists within that corporate entity called Nigeria. And beyond even secondary schools, we have seen university students being kidnapped. Education has really suffered, as a result of insecurity. So when we call that the government should take security serious, we are not just saying that just because we want security of lives and property. We are saying it too because insecurity causes other collateral damages. And one of the collateral damages of insecurity has been its negative impact on education in Nigeria. Today, many parents are afraid to send their kids to school. If in a place, the Federal Capital Territory, the government can already give instruction that schools should be closed, it tells you the damage insecurity has done to education in Nigeria.
What is the way forward?
In my narrow opinion, the solution to all this problem, banditry, kidnapping, and allied crime, is one. If we have enough military, if we have enough police, if we have enough intelligence officers, that is the only solution. That is the solution, in my narrow opinion. I was discussing with somebody and the person said, let us use technology. That America use technology. I said, technology is there, but the manpower. So let Nigeria recruit more soldiers. We shouldn't have less than 5 million soldiers.
Government should look for a means to get military into our schools. If we don't have enough, let us recruit. Because that is the level, except we want to deceive ourselves. Except we want to deceive ourselves. But the level we are now is to get military in all our schools. And not just a military. What I prefer will be their joint task force that will comprise military, police, civil defense, even all those community policing, all those groups. Let us have a combination of them and send to our schools.
In trying to even come up with a solution, we need to look beyond the schools, because the schools, like I said earlier on, don't exist in isolation. They exist within communities, within local government, and ultimately within states and the country as a whole. If the country as a whole is not safe, we cannot expect the schools to be safe. So this failure of governance that has brought us to where we are today, where government cannot discharge its primary duty, which is security and welfare of the people, we must put a stop to it. And one way to, because these same persons, they have told us, the Governor Elufai of Kaduna told us clearly, in clear terms, that they know where these people are, that they hear them. So the question is, if you know where they are, you hear them, why can't you take actions to safeguard lives and property? And again, these same people keep telling us that the government know what they want. So those same people who have colluded to get us to this stage that we are, they have a duty right now that they empower to ensure that they go and resolve whatever issue they have with these people, and then ensure that we have security of lives and property. Secondly, the security agencies must be allowed to do their job. At the last security meeting, after the meeting and we are being briefed, one of the things that came out was that the president has given the military and the security agents free hand to rein in this problem of banditry and kidnapping. The question that comes to mind with that type of a statement is that before now, was it that the security agencies were not being allowed to do their job? Was it that somebody was holding them back from performing their primary duty of securing lives and property? So we need the security agents to do their job. Thirdly, we need to stop treating criminals with kid gloves. And all those who are advocating that they should be treated with kid gloves, they need to be arrested. They need to come and explain to the security agencies what they mean when they say don't go after them, don't kill them. When these people continue to kill, to maim, to collect ransom. We also we saw the video of our adults who have been beaten mercilessly by the trained kidnappers. The trained kidnappers who saw what they were doing to those that they have kidnapped. And then we have a government. No. I think we need people to do their job. We need this failure of governance to stop. Most importantly, too, we need the security agencies to work with the communities. We need them to work with the communities.
According to Brill's and Hague's Academy of International Law report, in Africa's radicalism and conservatism, Nigeria has about 20 million children who are out of school. 13.2 million of them are said to be victims of Boko Haram insurgency, especially in the northeast, which has the highest number in the world. Fear is, if this is allowed to continue, then many, if not all schools in Nigeria will come under attack, thereby altering completely the entire essence of education, which is the bedrock for development.